Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me and my very special guest. You know her from such Broadway musicals as Once on This Island, Ragtime, If Then, and from her electrifying Tony Award-winning turn as Celie from the original production of The Color Purple. And this coming Sunday night, October 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, she kicks off her concert with Seth Rudetsky as part of his Seth Concert Series. Please say hello to my friend, LaChanze.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Good to see you, Richard.
Oh my God, I have missed you. First, before we get started here, we have to congratulate your beautiful daughter, Celia Rose Gooding, on her Tony Award nomination for Jagged Little Pill, Best Featured Actress in a Musical.
Yeah.
How proud is the mom?
Oh my God. I'm relieved, first of all, because the leading up to the announcements was a little tense in my house. You know, the morning of, I did the whole pep talk thing. I had her, I went into her room and I was like, listen, you know what? You're a phenomenal performer. You did this amazing job and it doesn't matter about the nominations. I did the whole thing. I spent the whole morning trying to bring it down. It'll be wonderful if it happens, but if it doesn't, you have a lifetime of a career and you need to just appreciate this moment where we are. She said, Mom, okay, but I want to watch by myself. I was like, okay, sure, you don't want me to watch with you? Nope, I want to watch by myself. I said, okay. So I go back to what I'm doing. Then 10 minutes before the announcement, she says, Mom, can I watch it with you? I was like, of course. So we snuggled under a blanket together and watched. And when we heard Catherine Gallagher's name, we were like, yay, Catherine. Then all we heard was CEL, Sal. And we were like, we hopped up from under the blanket. She runs into the closet, starts screaming. I'm like, oh my God, why the closet? I don't know. But she ran into the closet screaming. And I was just like, thank you, God. Because I don't know what that would have been like in this house without, but you know, it was a nice boost to us in the theater, I think, as a whole, to get the nominations, you know. It was a boost. It was a good boost for us.
It's such a strange time because people are like, oh my God, Broadway shut down and all the theaters shut down and the arts are shut down. But it's like, this is like a little like whipped cream and a little cherry on top of something that you're like, oh my gosh, this is so great.
Yes, it's exactly how I feel. And it was nice to see the community again, even though we're all virtual. It was just so nice to see everyone's reactions and the shows. It's unfortunate that there are shows that I enjoyed that didn't get to make the cut only because of, you know, the cutoff of theater. But, you know, that's the only, in my opinion, the only sad thing about this. But I'm happy that there was at least a moment for us to celebrate some of the performances in theater.
Yeah, I love your backdrop. I love everyone's going virtual now. First of all, how are you and where are you?
I'm in my kitchen. I'm home. I'm fine. I actually think I should turn that light on. Is it okay without? No.
You look great. This is fabulous.
Okay, great. No, I'm home. I live in Westchester, about 20 minutes outside of the city. And we've just been camped up here. You know, there's no reason to really go back into the city. My best friend moved out of the city. Now she lives up in Westchester. So everyone's doing their best they can to just, you know, make the best of the situation. But I do miss being in the city.
You know, because it's over 7 months since the New York theater shut down. 7 months. I mean, that's such a big number. But, you know, no one's ever lived through a pandemic. We're living through this now. And we have to listen to the scientists because they're the only ones who can figure this whole thing out.
Absolutely.
You know, everyone has an opinion. How have you and your family been dealing with and handling the ongoing pandemic?
Well, you know, at first it was, we get some time off. We can just hang together. We can clean out the closets and throw out old things and, you know, take advantage of the time. And then that lasted for a good month or two. Then it was like, okay, now what? Okay, well, let's focus on doing some great exercising, everyone. Let's just get in shape. Let's just start exercising like crazy. Okay, then I got bored with that. Then I was like, all right, well, let's just, you know, we just kept finding things to do. And I have to say, one of the best things that came out of the pandemic for me was being one of the founding members of Black Theater United. That was one of the best things that came out of it for me. So we've just been trying to find ways to stay creative, engaged. I caught up on a bunch of television. I'm good with that now. But we're just trying to stay creative. My youngest daughter, Zaya, is back in college. She did end up, even though it's virtual, she wanted to be on campus, at least being on campus. So I'm happy that she's happy. And Celia is my new roommate. And that's what I'm calling her, is my roommate, because this is supposed to be my, you know, my, what do they call it? The empty nesting moment. And that didn't happen. It's okay though. I'm very happy. I have a roommate that I like. So we're here together. We're taking turns cooking. We're taking turns loading and unloading the dishwasher. We're taking turns cleaning the cat litter. Actually, no, she does most of that, to be completely honest. But we're staying busy. We're staying creative.
I love that. What has amazed you the most and what has frustrated you the most during this time?
What's amazed me, I would have to say, is it's hard. What's amazed me, I would have to say, how we've all come together as a community. How so many of us, particularly the Black community, are coming together. You know, after the murder of George Floyd, so many of us have just, so many, not only in the Black community, just overall. I think the world is just like, enough already. You know, enough is enough. And I think the amount of solidarity that I've experienced and that I see experiencing in the world, I think is amazing. It's wonderful to see. I have to say, feels like a resurgence, almost like a little bit of a revolution, and it feels good to see that. What's frustrated me, I have to say, is the fact that people are not taking this seriously enough, the virus, so that we can get it a little bit more under control and get back to normal sooner. I'm ready for us to get back to normal.
Yeah. Would you just talk about a little bit about the organization you co-founded and where people can go to either donate or find out more about it?
Yeah. So after the horrific murder of George Floyd, I put up a text about how I wanted our community, our theater community, to have some sort of reaction to what was happening. And Audrey McDonald called me and she said, LaChanze, we had a few text exchanges, then a few phone calls about how can we get involved as a community of artists to have a voice and help, educate and push out information about how people can support so many of us in theater, and how we can end even the microaggressors in theater that we do experience, And so we called a bunch of our friends together and got about 19 of us together, and we got on the Zoom calls, and we were Zoom calling, and we created a website, and we got a lot of attention. We got a lot of support from other foundations, Ford Foundation, Mellon Foundation. We've been very fortunate to get support by just David Stone and just so many of the wonderful producers, and Tom Schumacher and Nick and Scandiolis. So many producers have come together to support us, and we've been very, very, very fortunate to get the support that we've gotten. And we're doing good things. We're doing really good things. We've had a couple town halls. We're engaging our members and our allies with what they can do to help. So we're just trying to spread the word. And right now, our mission is voting. Prior to this, we were advocating on behalf of the census. So we're really just trying to be sort of an organization that helps spread the word about what we can do to support issues that affect Black bodies, Black talent, and Black lives.
Where can people go? What is the website called?
BlackTheaterUnited.com.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Now, you had mentioned voting. We have people watching all around the world today. Would you just mention how important it is for people to register and vote, and what is at stake at this election?
It is the most important thing that you can do right now in our country. So many people lost their lives for the right to vote. And if you have we all have the right to vote now. And if you are physically capable to get out and go register, not only register, but to get out and vote, it is the best thing that we can do for our country right now. Absolutely. And not only in this year, but every 2 years, vote in the midterm elections as well. That's just as important. So it is I think it's the singular most important thing that we can do right now, and our responsibility as American citizens, the number one thing we can do.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. I've been asking everybody who's been on with me since the beginning to talk about how important this is. And now we're less than 2 weeks away.
Yes, we are.
So like I said, fingers crossed for everything.
Yes, all good.
Well, listen, this coming Sunday night, October 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will be live. Then with a rebroadcast on Monday, October 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, doing your concert with Seth Rudetsky as part of his concert series. How excited are you? I'm
so excited because I've never done a concert with Seth before. I've watched them, I've witnessed them, I've loved them. He's hilarious. And I do have a concert that I do out, my own story that I do, which is not at all like Seth concerts. So this will be interesting. We're taking a couple of requests. If there are songs that I've sung in my career that people want to hear, please tell me so that we can put them on the schedule. But I'm excited. It'll be fun. I haven't sung in a concert in a while because we've been all in lockdown. So I've been vocalizing and preparing my chords to sing a full evening of music. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. We've been flirting with some fun songs. We have some good stuff in store. And my daughter Celia might even pop in and join me on a ballad.
Oh my gosh. Okay. What can your fans expect? Like, what can you tell us anything? Maybe some songs or composers or something?
Oh, yes. So definitely am doing my one Sondheim hit, Another 100 People. That was a request. To do Another 100 People. Of course, I'll do a good old Waiting for Life to Begin. I'll be doing that one because we are waiting for our lives to begin right now. We are waiting and waiting and waiting. So I think that's apropos. I'm going to do a little something from Color Purple, something from Summer. And I'm not sure about this, I may do something from If Then that I didn't sing. But because I loved it so much, I'm going to sing a song that Adina sang.
Oh, this is so great. Like I said, you've never worked with Seth. I didn't realize that.
Not part of his series. I've done, I've definitely done some of his evening talk shows. I've done that. We've worked together, but we've never done a concert together. So I'm excited about this.
Oh, get ready for that, because I've had everybody on who has done this with him. And some are like, I've never worked with Seth, or I've worked with Seth. And he said, even though you're all prepared, all of a sudden he opens something and says, remember this when you did this in high school? Let's sing from this show. And you're like, wait a minute. And you're like,
what? Yeah. It's like, I don't even know the lyrics to that anymore, Seth, but let's go for it.
He'll give you the lyrics, believe me, or you'll do it as a duet. What part of your house have you turned into a studio? This is the other new virtual thing everyone's doing. So
my basement. It's it is really a studio because my daughter Celia is she's in the middle of a lab right now. So she has a full setup downstairs. And I used to just use a table in the corner with downstairs in the corner of my basement. But she's got this like tricked out, setup now. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just use this. So we've been making that work. And this is where I do in my kitchen. This is where I do a lot of the Zoom calls right here.
So are you going to do the concert, Sunday night's concert downstairs in the basement?
Downstairs in the basement with the tricked out, with the lighting and the stand and everything. So that's where Sunday night's concert is going to be from.
The amazing thing about this time period, because I've been talking to all these singers, said, Richard, not only am I the performer, now you're the stage manager, the set designer, the lighting designer, the sound designer.
Yes, the technical director. I never thought about it. I have so much respect now. I mean, even more, I've always had respect for our tech designers, but now with the setup and the lighting and the audio and the making sure you have an Ethernet and all of that. I'm like, oh my God, so it's now I'm used to it. Now it's just what we do. And it's a part of our new normal.
Yeah. These are new skills you can add on the bottom of your resume under special skills. Lighting designer, sound designer.
That's right. Learning about the audio, learning about how some rooms in my house echo, and the ones that don't echo are like my closet. So I don't know. I don't know how I can. I mean, I would love to sing in my closet, but I don't think anyone would appreciate me singing in my closet. But that's kind of like the best sound in my house. I have to be honest.
There are so many people I've spoken to that are like, I do all my self-tapes in the closet, or I do these voiceovers in my closet.
It's the best place. It's like a little sound studio. I love it. So, but
have you picked an outfit yet for Sunday?
I've been flirting with a couple of ideas because we're virtual. So
yeah.
There's something about, I love how casual people have gotten in the virtual worlds. I love that people have gotten so creative doing things in their PJs or in their sweats, or, like who cracks me up is, what's his name? The Daily Show host. What's his name from South Africa? I'm blanking on his name. The Daily Show host.
Oh, I love him. Fans out there, he's
my God, I'm just blanking on his name. But anyway, I love how his hair is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and he's in a sweatshirt. I just love him so much.
And then there's other people who totally deck out and do everything and go the other mile. You know what I mean?
I know. And that's something I was telling Celia about with her Tony nomination. I was, if we were in a normal season, you'd be so busy with different, luncheons and different things to attend. I said, we should still, prepare an outfit for the evening, the day of the Tonys. We should still get styled. You only get nominated for a Tony, first once in your life. So celebrate it.
Trevor Noah.
Thank you, God. I love you, Trevor Noah. I really do. I just blanked for a minute. I know what you look like. I couldn't think of his name. It's killing me.
We all do. We have too much stuff in our head right now, and some falls out, and some you've got to keep it. You've got a concert to do on Sunday. You have lyrics to put in your head.
Thank you. And that's what's going in my head right now. Another 100 people, another life, all the different songs that I want to sing. But yeah, that's so funny. You said we have a lot going on in our heads. I have a joke with my girlfriend. She say I have too many windows open. I got to close my windows because I have some corrupted files. I need to reboot my system. I wish Apple could come and give me a software update, because all this information is it's a lot of information to keep storing.
That's a great way to put it, because, even though we're on lockdown, we're open more. I think, I think we're connecting more eye to eye on these now. It's very interesting. And I hope that when it all comes back, I can't wait to hug people again. I can't wait.
And I can't wait to be in a space with more than 5 people comfortably. I can't wait to have, just moments of where I'm not nervous.
Yeah.
Is that nice?
No, that's all good. That's somewhere. Everything rings in our house between fire engines and everything else. It's all. I'm in Hell's Kitchen, so it never stops here, the noise, especially when I'm live.
My old neighborhood. I used to live there. I love Hell's Kitchen.
Oh,
I lived there when it was Hell's Kitchen. Now it's Clinton Hill, but I remember when it was Hell's Kitchen back in the mid 90s. That's when I lived there.
I call it the Theater District.
The Theater District.
Theater District. Well, again, your concert is Sunday night, October 25th, live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with a rebroadcast on Monday, October 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Seth Rudetsky. The Seth Concert Series is produced by Mark Cortali and is sponsored by BroadwayWorld and StreamYard. Tickets are available at Broadway World Events and the SethConcertSeries.com, and tickets are only $28.50. I know where I'm going to be on Sunday and Monday.
Yes, please join us.
I want to go back to the beginning. Growing up, where did your love for singing and theater begin? And how did the Bowen Peters Cultural Arts Center play into that?
Wow. Okay. So I can't believe you found that. So Bowen Peters Cultural Arts Center in Haven, Connecticut is where I learned to dance, and I started there at a very young age. And it's where I learned my love for the stage. And I was completely convinced that I was going to grow up and become this concert dancer. That's what I wanted to do. So I went to college for dance. And when I got to school, I always sang, but dance was challenging for me. And I think I'm personally drawn to things that are difficult because I like a challenge. I really love a good challenge. It pushes me in a way that gives me some sort of, sadistic relief. I don't know why. I love working hard. Let's just say that. But would have to say, to answer your question, when we moved from Florida, when I was a child, and we moved from Florida to Connecticut when I was 10 years old, and that's when my mother put me in Bo and Peters, I didn't really know about theater in Florida growing up. I didn't get to see those commercials. And I would see these theater commercials and I would say, I want to go see that play, Mom. I want to go see that play. So she started taking me into the city to see shows. And I said, I found my people. I found my tribe. These are my people. This is what I want to do. I knew, of course, about plays my whole life, but I didn't know about the theater community. I didn't know about Broadway and the wealth of it. And then I became obsessed with it. I started learning all the songs in my living room for every commercial that came on. My favorite was Evita. And I didn't know what she was saying. I used to think when she would say, just a little bit of fire quality, I thought in my young brain, she was saying, just a little bit. I love what I see. Why? I love what I see. I don't know, something about Patty's arms up and, fire quality. I never understood that. I never understood that was the word. So it was, I love what I see, until I got into class with other musical theater performers and had my face cracked.
All right. You need to sing that song in your concert with the words you heard.
With the words I learned when I was younger. That would be an interesting song. And Patti LuPone may just literally come on to the show just because of that.
Oh, I think you need to add that in. Listen, if Steph's listening, and be like, oh my God, I'm going to pull that out and have her do that.
Just a little bit. I love what I see.
Well, we used to listen to records growing up, and we used to sing these lyrics for all these songs, and they were totally wrong.
Totally wrong. Totally wrong. Completely wrong. It was just a different time. We didn't have Google. We didn't have Siri. We just made it up.
And we heard what we heard.
We heard what we heard. There are a lot of lyrics that I mispronounced back then.
Oh, I'm fascinated. Listen, how did the role of Lola in Damn Yankees in the musical at the Warren Harding High School change everything for you?
Oh my God, you really did your research.
Well, these are defining moments for everybody. These are the first time you see the lights, you get a role. So, this was high school. You were the lead. Yeah. You were Lola in one of the most beloved musicals of all time, Damn Yankees.
In Damn Yankees.
It
was, I went to a school that, it was a public school in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Warren Harding High School. And back then, the arts were very important in schools. I had acting, I had chorus, I had the play that I was working on. I was also a cheerleader. There was a lot of there were a lot of activities in our school. And my mother was all about making us do things like staying active to keep us busy. And when I auditioned for Lola, first of all, I was just auditioning. I didn't know anything about possibly getting the job. And when I got the part, I was shocked, but then I was completely fascinated by the fact that I got to play this whatever Lola wants. I got to play that part. And I remember in the front row were my silly friends and my boyfriend, and they were laughing at me so hard. That's when I learned how to not break the fourth wall, because they were right in front of my face, enjoying the show, but also trying to break my focus, but they didn't. But what that taught me was just the wonderful exchange that you can get on the stage with an audience. It's symbiotic. It's all of us creating this moment together. And that's where I learned that in high school. And I just couldn't get enough of it. I loved it. And then I went on to do, I think I was Dracula. And then I was Mina in Dracula. Mina was the next play my senior year.
Wow, what a switch. From Lola in Damn Yankees to Mina in Dracula.
I know. Our drama teacher had a crazy imagination.
But I can just imagine your first lines is Lola, hiya, chief, or whatever, when she lowers the newspaper, whatever you did, right?
Oh my God. It was so much fun. I may have to pull out some of that music again too.
Like I said, you never know. He may pull this out on Sunday, or when you do your new concert in front of an audience for the first time and be like, I'm going to do a little Lola. I'm going to give you a Mina speech from Dracula.
That would be so fun. But yeah, those were important moments. And they were, you know, there's nothing like doing your first and second play in life. There's nothing like getting that rush of adrenaline and everyone there, and everyone, you know, in high school, the stakes aren't as high, but you're more sensitive because, you know, you want your friends to like you. It's different kind of approval. But it was really a wonderful experience.
That's great. Well, you know, many people were supposed to make their Broadway debuts this spring, and then the pandemic hit. And I hope that when the theater comes back bigger and better than ever, they'll be given that opportunity.
Yeah.
Broadway debuts are really special. Yours was in Uptown It's Hot.
Uptown It's Hot. Yeah.
Maurice Hines, Mercedes Ellington. I mean, what do you remember about your opening night in that show and what that meant to your Broadway debut?
We opened at the Lunt-Fontanne Theater in 1986.
Yeah.
I was in college. I left school to do that play and to do that show. And it started as a summer job at the Tropicana Hotel in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
It was a summer job at the Tropicana Hotel that went to Broadway. Now, if I can tell you the arguments I had with my parents about leaving school to go do this, because I was like, you know, it's a big deal. I have to go. I'm going to get my equity card. I'm going to be a working actor. And ironically, my daughter did the very same thing, which is just bizarre to me because I fought her about staying in school, but then she got a Broadway show. Again, it didn't run for very long. I think we ran for after previews, I think a solid week maybe or something like that.
24 performances after you opened.
Yeah, I think that's it. But it was a great experience for me because I was in the ensemble. I was third girl from the left, but I sang. And one day, the Maurice, who directed it, was not in the rehearsal, and the lead wasn't there for this song we were rehearsing. And to entertain my fellow castmates, I jumped up and started singing the lead part. But I was singing and being silly, just trying to entertain everyone in the room, and didn't know that Maurice was standing in the doorway listening. And he heard me, and in that moment, he said, I have to give you a little breakout moment of singing. So he gave me a little moment where I burst out of the gospel choir and had a little solo moment downstage center. And that was when I learned, I think I need to put not dancer who sings. I need to switch that around to singer who dances. That was very early on, but that's how I got started in focusing on singing.
Well, see, that's another life-changing moment. I mean, look at this, a summer job. A lot of shows went to the Tropicana in Atlantic City during that time period. But like you said, you never would have thought it would have gone to Broadway. I loved that show, just so you know. I saw it twice in previews, and I saw it after you guys opened. I loved it.
Oh, I didn't know that, Richard. That's great.
I loved, and I'm obsessed with Mercedes Ellington because she was in No No Nanette on Broadway in the original with Ruby Keeler. So I was always obsessed with her too. So it was like, and of course, Maurice. So like I said, I saw you make your Broadway debut before I actually got to meet you.
And that's when I had 3 names.
Yes, you did. Tell everybody your 3 names you had.
I had 3 names. My full legal name at that time was Rhonda LaChanze Sapp. LaChanze is my grandmother's name.
Yeah.
Named after my grandma. So I decided, let's see. I want everyone to call me LaChanze. So I'm going to drop Rhonda and just make it an R. So then I was R. LaChanze Sapp. Then I was like, I think that's too awkward for people to say. And what if I completely suck one day in my career? I have a perfect way for the press to kill me. Sapp sucked. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I love you, family. I love you, Dad. I love relatives, Warren Sapp, Marvin Sapp. I said, you know what, family? I love you, but I gotta drop the Sapp. I'm in theater. I might get roasted over the coals years from now. So then I was R. LaChanze. And then someone said, our LaChanze one day? And I was like, that's it. R's gotta go. I'm just gonna be LaChanze. I'm just gonna go for it. And if people, judge me my career, they'll judge me. But now it's just everyone's used to it. I'm just LaChanze.
I love it because when I was doing, I've always done research on you, but I'm saying, where are these other initials from? I'm looking at all your shows and it's like, I'm looking at playbills and I'm like, where did these other names come from? Then I'm like, tap dancer. I'm like, she started out with Maurice Hines. You know, it's so interesting how, and you switch from dancer, singer to singer who dances, which I think, and then now you're star.
Now I don't even dance anymore. Now I'm just a straight up actor who sings. Now I'm an actor who sings. Really
well, you have such an incredible career. I'd like you to just go through a few of the highlights and just tell me what comes to mind, a great story or a fun memory, okay?
Okay.
Okay, you then went into Dreamgirls. Please tell me, how wonderful was it living in the world of Dreamgirls?
Oh, that was the biggest education for me. That's where I learned about the politics of theater back in stage, like in the community. I learned about stamina, learned about how you have, being on because we went on the road first. I learned all about being on the road and being away from home. I was young. I learned, that was where I really cut my teeth in learning about the business. Uptown It's Hot was great, but it was still I was still coddled a little bit. It wasn't as, it wasn't like a raw experience for me. I was still very new, very green, ready to please, happy, loving it. Maurice he is my earth angel. I credit all of my career, my success, my break in this business to Maurice Hines. He is the man that really launched my career for me. And I will always be eternally grateful to Maurice Hines for seeing something in me and giving me that opportunity. But he taught me a lot. He wasn't easy on me, but he wasn't strict either. He just had a level of expectation that I wanted to, my professional expectation that I wanted to appease. So, but Dreamgirls was different. When I got into the Dreamgirls company, it had already been going. I was a replacement for one of the dancers, and I was the understudy to Dina and Michelle. And 2 weeks into my experience there, I went on as Dina. It was terrifying, but I went on, and it was a great experience. But I really learned a lot in Dreamgirls. I learned a lot. That was the show that I thought, do I really want to do this? Because it was hard. I learned a lot in that show, but I got over it and I'm still here.
Wow, but 2 weeks into it going on as Dina, what a track that is.
Yeah, I learned a lot. I got thrown into the fire, but it was wonderful because the cast was great. They were so supportive. Lilius White, Elisa Guys. It was, just amazing women. The Burrell sisters, Debbie Burrell.
Oh.
It was a wonderful group of women that I worked with. Yvette Quaison, Brenda Braxton, who is to this day still my good girlfriend. I just love her. So I learned a lot in that show.
That's amazing. You have quite a history with Lynn Ahrens and Stephen Flaherty. They're two of my all-time favorite people, the most incredible writing team, but they are so sweet. I mean, they're so great. You kicked off by creating the role of Timoon in Once on This Island, their magical musical. Tell me what Stephen and Lynn mean to you and that role and that show on Once on This Island.
Wow. Well, there's some things, I'm not a very religious person, but I am spiritual. And I do think that there was a little, if I can go there, a little divine intervention with that, because the way it happened was just so surreal. I auditioned from the backstage. I just went to an open call in the backstage. And back then, the open calls weren't what I hear they are now. And I literally walked into a room. There was no one waiting. I went to the corner, got the newspaper, saw Timoun is what I thought is how you pronounce the name. I said, African-American woman to play this part, this age. I said, look, I'll go in there and sing. And I went in there. And the casting director or the associate to the casting director was sitting behind the table reading a book. The piano player was reading the newspaper. And I walked in. I said, hi, is this the audition for Once on This Island? And they were like, yeah, come on in. Like there was no one there. Then 5 auditions later, I ended up getting to work with Lynn and Stephen. We were all so young. We were all at the beginnings of our careers. And Graciela Danielle, I mean, she
goddess
so much. She taught me the way she directs. I really wish that Graciela Danielle was still, she's retired now, but I really wish she was still out there working, because she was one of my favorite directors. And I have to be honest, my only female director, which is something that, you know, it's odd that I've only worked with one female director in a Broadway arena, you know. So
Wow.
it was great to work with her. But they taught me how to trust my instincts. That's what Lynn and Stephen, and when we did the out of town, not the out of town, when we did the Playwrights Horizons version, and then we went away for the summer to come back and do the Broadway production in the fall. I was working on my voice, and I was working because I wanted to build up my stamina. And when we got back into rehearsal, Stephen had to raise all my keys. He raised all my keys. He said, "What did you do over the summer?" He raised everything a whole step. Yeah, and it was great. They were just wonderful. They gave me the room, and Graciela gave me the room to really create and build Timoon up from the ground up. And there were so many moments that, because we did the workshop, that were cut from the show that I was devastated by. There were songs that were cut. When Daniel Marries Me, to this day, I'm not over that.
No.
Still not over that they cut When Daniel Marries Me from Once on This Island. I'm still annoyed with that. Not really, but you know, I've added it into shows over the time. I've added, just because I did one evening of music of all the songs that were cut from shows that I did. There were some really beautiful songs, but yeah, they were integral to my success and my career.
That's fabulous. You also got to revisit Once on This Island on May 12th, 2002. If someone said to me, what were some of the greatest nights you've ever spent in the theater? That is definitely in the top 10, probably the top 5. It was a benefit for Broadway Cares and, of course, for the Cantor Fitzgerald Relief Fund. What did that evening mean to you personally, LaChanze?
Well, it was, my daughters were, Celia was, I think, you said she was like 1.5, I think, or maybe 2. Maybe she was 2 by then. You said May, she was 2. Yeah. And Zaya, my youngest, was 4 months. So, no, she was 5 months, I'm sorry. And so I had these babies. I had these 2 little babies, and it was right after 9/11. So it was bittersweet, because that show did so much for my career, and it meant so much to me that I was a different person when I did it originally. The years later, the world had changed, you know, so much. So the spirit of the show was much deeper, I think. And I think one of the reasons you felt it so profoundly is because of how we as a community had shifted. It was post 9/11. Here we were singing about hope, and we needed that. I think we all just needed to feel that. So that's why it was so powerful.
Like I said, top 5 for me. And I've seen everybody and everything. And just point is, it still remains one of my most incredible nights I've ever spent in the theater, just so you know. So I want to thank you for that night.
Thank you.
You then stepped into the role of Sarah in another Aaron Flaherty and Terrence McNally landmark musical, Ragtime.
Yes.
What made that experience so special? That was such a phenomenal show.
That was so great. Well, I did the production. There were 2 productions going on simultaneously. Audra was doing the one in Toronto, and I was doing the one in LA. And they ended up bringing the one in Toronto to Broadway, but I still ended up doing it on Broadway once Audra left to go have her daughter. And ironically, I was pregnant at the same time, but didn't know it. It's interesting. But that was incredible, because the music in that show, to this day, if I play that, that's one of my favorite cast albums. If I play that music around the house, I will sing the entire score, because it was so beautiful and so moving. And I thought that it was an important piece of theater. I wish that show was still running today, because it's the kind of show that speaks to our society right now, particularly in these, you know, how we're dealing with so much division. And it was a musical about us coming together as a community and how we can come together. Yes, there was there were racist moments in it, but you know, they did focus on that. But there were moments that was focused on, but it was more about our communities seeing each other and coming together. And I think it would be good to have on Broadway right now.
It's a musical that never should have gone away. Seriously,
I agree. I completely agree. Ragtime should still be running.
Yeah. So you received the Obie Award for your breathtaking performance of Dessa Rose in the Aarons and Flaherty musical of the same title. You starred opposite Rachel York. I loved that show. Again, Graciela Danielle, Lincoln Center. You aged from 16 to 80 in that show.
That was fun.
What did that role mean to you? And that was such a beautiful show at the Mitzi Newhouse. Just gorgeous show.
It was a beautiful show. It was very challenging. That was a hard one for me. Because I think how old was I when I did it? I was, let's see, that was 94. What year was that? I don't even remember what year that was.
I'm going to look that up right now.
No, it wasn't. It was the 2000s. It was maybe 2000. I don't remember what year it was, but I wasn't 16 or 8. So the whole point is I had to really work at that character, because I was narrating my life as the 80-year-old, going back and then playing the 16-year-old, then switching back to the narrator. So that was challenging for me. That was very challenging, but it was one of the most dramatic roles I've ever played, because I had to be a slave who had gone on a rampage and killed her master. So I had to tap into a lot of rage there.
2005.
That's right. I had to tap into a lot of rage, and I was able to do that, but it was difficult. It was difficult, but I was grateful that we were able to get the run going and that it got so much attention. And then we did the full recording of the show. There's a full recording, not only the music but the lines too. Yeah. So it was full. You can get that. You can download it. Still out there, but it was beautiful. It was beautiful, and Rachel's work, and working with Rachel, and Norm Lewis was in that, and Keisha Lewis was in it, and Tina Fabrique. It was, Eric Jordan Young. It's a really powerful cast. Who else?
I can visually still see it in my head. I can see everything about that show.
Michael Hayden was in it. It was a really strong cast.
Yeah.
And Graciela directed that.
Yeah. Just beautiful. Like I said, just beautiful. Like I said, everything you've done moved you to a whole other level. That's the interesting thing, is you've never repeated what you've done. You've always stepped higher along the way, which I love about your work. You've always pushed yourself to a whole other level.
Thank you. I'm a little bit of a sadist that way, so masochist as well. I mean, I'm just...
No, but it's so great, though, as an artist, when you think you can go no further, all of a sudden you took Broadway by storm with your electrifying performance as Celie in the Broadway musical The Color Purple, winning the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Musical. How life-changing was that show for you?
That was probably the most life-changing of my career. Celie was definitely the most powerful experience I've had on stage, from the beginning to the end. From everything, from the out-of-town tryout to, the workshop, working on it, building it, doing every single element of it, even to helping them write I'm Here. That all came out of a discussion we were having about how I felt in the moment. The great thing about, the interesting thing about Color Purple, I don't know many people know this, but we sort of built that show off from the ground up as we were in rehearsal, because our original author, Regina Taylor, was the original author of the musical. Ended up having to stop working on it because she had become very active in her duties at the Goodman Theater. I think she was the artist in residence there or something, but she had become very busy with her other duties, and she had to hand the project over to someone else, who ended up being Marsha Norman. So when we got into rehearsal on it, Marsha was literally writing as we were on our feet, rehearsing, creating lines, asking us how we felt about certain moments to really build the characters. So I got to help develop Celie from the script and the music in a way that I've never been able to do before. So I have a lot of personal, I take ownership of Celie in a way that not many other roles that I've done. Well, T Moon, but Celie definitely was something that I helped build for the stage. And I'm very proud of the work I did in that. But it was, phew, that one was tough. I would have to be very silly before the curtain went up, and then very silly when it came down, just so I didn't take those emotions with me into my life, because I still had 2 little small children at the time.
Yeah, wow. It's so interesting when you say, I knew you created her that way, because that was the perfect melding of artist and material. You know, when those kind of roles come together and there's just this synergy that comes together, and it's just electric. It's like you were Celie. I didn't see LaChanze, I saw Celie, and I knew you.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting. I remember that opening night was at the public library.
Yes.
In your public library, I interviewed you all downstairs.
Yep.
Yeah, in that rotunda downstairs. But I remember everything about that. Just really, really stunning. Then you played Kate in Tom Kitt and Brian Yorkie's musical If Then. Favorite memories of that show? I loved that show too. What a great show.
It was so much fun. It was great to get to know Adina, and Jen and James, and I would have to say that was probably one of my favorite casts.
Yeah.
We were such a tight cast. We had the best time. Our out-of-town tryouts in DC, we just bonded. To this day, every single person in that company I'm still friendly with. And you don't get to say that about shows often, It's like we come together, we have this intense experience, and then we all go back to our lives. And if you're lucky, you made a friend. If you're lucky, you're still in touch. But we're all trying to just keep things moving, and we're trying to have this amazing experience on stage. So, we just keep going. But if you're lucky, you make a friend along the way with shows. And with If Then, everyone is still my friend. I can honestly say that. I would phone up now and call any one of them, and we'd have a laughing, long, loving conversation. It's a good group.
You look like it was such a small company, a small, tight company, and you were all creating these roles together. So you can see that.
Yes, I loved it. And I got to play a comedic character. I never get to be funny.
I know.
I'm very funny, and I never get to be funny. I think that's a curse of Celie.
I love it. Totally. Well, you returned to Broadway as Diva Donna in Summer, the Donna Summer musical. I mean, how much fun was that, and sharing the stage with your fellow Donnas?
Oh, that was so much fun. And, Ariana and Storm, I call them, they call me Mama Chance, which I love. I love that they call me Mama Chance. Mama Chance, Mama Chance. I would walk around the theater, all these young, beautiful women, these statuesque, gorgeous, and they would say, Mama Chance. And I'd say, yes, Diva, how are you today, Diva? We had such a lovely relationship. That was probably one of the hardest jobs I've had, because not only was I narrating, I was singing, and that's Sergio, that choreography. He says, you can do this, Diva. Come on. Had me up on desks, dancing, coming up, coming down, singing, work hard for the money. I was like, I am really working hard for this money. That became, my theme song. I am working hard for this money. That was a hard one. That was very, very hard. I learned, I built a lot of stamina in that, lost a lot of weight too, but it was fun. It was I would love being able to play Donna Summer, because she's iconic in her music, and she made people think that they're singing her song was easy. Nothing easy about that music. She made it look effortless. I was warming up every single day to sing that stuff, so it was great.
I love it. The Sergio workout. Everyone I've spoken to is on a Sergio show. They're like, I don't go to the gym. I just do my show. It's a workout.
That's it. I didn't go to the gym, and I was the most fit ever in my life.
Fabulous. Well, your most recent return to Broadway was in the gorgeous production of A Christmas Carol. I was fortunate enough to see it 3 times. I would get teary-eyed during that. It was just so beautiful. You created the Ghost of Christmas Present. What an incredible interpretation. How glorious was that for you, being a part of that show and creating that version of the Ghost of Christmas Present?
I was so grateful to have that opportunity, because I can't imagine ever an occasion where I would have been cast as the ghost of Christmas Present in A Christmas Carol. There's just never an occasion. So when Matthew Workus called and said, I have this idea of you playing this character in this play, would you take it on? I was like, absolutely. This is one of those bucket list opportunities. As an actor, it's like being asked to portray a man. I haven't been able to do that yet, and I'm dying to be Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar. Just want to say. I did do a production of it, but I wasn't Judas. Just putting it out there. I want to be Judas. So it was wonderful. But what I was the most moved by with that production was it harkened back to when you didn't need much to tell the story on stage. The design for that show was exquisite. The fact that we used everything on the stage to create the stage and create the story with the simplest touches. There was no, there weren't any screens behind us. We didn't have lights looming down. We didn't have anything shifting. It was the simplest creative a set design that I'd ever been on, but the most beautiful. It was exquisite. Those lanterns. Do you remember all those lanterns?
Oh, yeah.
There were over 700 in the theater. It was an exquisite production to be a part of. And I felt very fortunate to be a part of that production. Yeah. And the show got 5 Tony nominations.
I was waiting for that. 5 Tony nominations.
5 Tony nominations.
It was beautiful. I could go to that once a week now, seriously. And with the holidays coming up, I just wish it would come back somehow. I mean,
we were supposed to come back this fall. This holiday season. Yeah. I was all ready to do it again, but here we are. Next year.
You'll be back playing that role. LaChanze, you have helped pave the way for people of color to star on Broadway. Please tell me what that honor means to you.
I'm always so touched when I hear young women say that to me, when they come up to me, and young men. They come up to me and they say, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. Seeing you succeed, seeing your face, you were out there representing me. And I get those kinds of compliments often. And it's just affirmative. It just makes me feel so good to know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing in the world. And not only for me, I'm a firm believer that your talent is for me and my talent is for you. So everything that you're doing, Richard, it's not for you. It's for those of us. And we appreciate it. And that's my responsibility and that's yours. So I'm grateful that it is coming back when I do hear those comments from people.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Listen, working together with your daughter, I understand there's a dream show, which may be right behind me somewhere. Would you tell us what that dream show is for the two of you maybe to do together?
Oh, what? You mean Gypsy? That's something that we keep putting out there in the universe, flirting with the idea of it happening. But who knows? Maybe one day someone will get brave enough to write a version for me and my daughter to do. We would love to do that. That's one project that we want to do. Although we did recently sing a song from Next to Normal for a gala. And it was great. And now we're thinking, hey, maybe we should put Next to Normal on the bucket list as a show that we can do together. But she's going to be but she's busy. I mean, if I can get her attention for a few minutes, I'm happy. So it would be great to work with her.
And she lives in your house.
She lives in my house. But she's working. I mean, she's downstairs in her little studio right now till 7:00 in rehearsal.
That's incredible. Since Seth Rudetsky has always done those incredible Actors Fund benefits on full shows, which you have been a part of, Gypsy, LaChanze, Celia, Rose, I could see this happening.
Well, I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there in the universe. Let's hope.
Listen, so finally, what are you looking forward to the most with Sunday night's concert with Seth? What are you looking forward to the most?
The chance to just sing with Seth, to work with him, and to he's such a natural, spontaneous, like spark of energy and joy, and he loves what he does so much. I just want to feed off of that energy, and I'm looking forward to us coming together and it just putting some good music out there and entertaining and letting people have a good time.
Well, again, this hour has flown by really fast.
Wow, it has.
It has. Your concert is this Sunday night, October 25th, live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with a rebroadcast on Monday afternoon, October 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. LaChanze will be with Seth Rudetsky as part of the Seth Concert Series. It's produced by Mark Cortali. It is sponsored by BroadwayWorld and StreamYard. Tickets are available at BroadwayWorld events and at the SethConcertSeries.com. And tickets are only $28.50. LaChanze, I have known you since the very beginning. I have been there, I think, for all your openings in New York and all your great you know, things that you've done here. This has been a dream to sit with you long form here today, live around the world.
And thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure to talk to you finally without rushing down a red carpet. It's really nice to have a moment to actually sit and talk. So thank you.
Well, I love you. Please tell my love to your daughter. I will be seeing her over the next few weeks before the Tony Awards. Everybody, until we see you, stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask, and vote.
Yes, and vote.